Alright, so for your first in-class or for your project, if that's what you're working on, depending on which class you're taking, you're going to need to save it. As we talked about in class, don't wait until the end to do your first save. Save early on, and save frequently. I make it a general rule every about 3 to 5 minutes. I auto save myself. Like, I just have gotten into the habit and the practice of doing it. I don't even quite know I'm doing it because it's become autopilot. About every 5 minutes. So that way if you lose your work, you've only lost 5 minutes of your project time instead of all of your project time. For submissions to Blackboard, I actually want the PDF. That being said, always save the native file. So the native file, if you're in Illustrator, it's the .ai extension. If you're in Photoshop, it's the .psd. And if you're in InDesign, it's the .indd. This is the original file. This is the one that is the sort of meat and potatoes. So if you need to go back in later, particularly if you keep going and then you take the core class and you need to edit some things, or the portfolio version of 407, what you will do if you take that and you have to go back in, if you have your native file, it's easy. All you have to do then is go back in and make your edits. If you didn't have the file and you didn't keep the native file, you are on a complete rebuild. So just keep that in mind. So somewhere, always keep that native file. To do our normal save, go to File and Save right there, Apple S. Remember, this is one of those shortcuts I'm going to want you to learn. I'm temporarily going to put it on my desktop. I hit my my Command D for desktop, and I'll just call this exercise 1, because this sort of was, you know, our beginning. This could have been our in-class number 1 or a research for a project, and we see that .ai. I want to see the .ai. I'm just going to close this. If your view looks like this, it's sort of a compressed view. Click on this little down arrow. It is nice to be able to see sort of everything. So if you have your thumb drive here, it's going to show up on your devices. It's going to activate and highlight wherever it is you're going to save it. If you have your thumb drive, do put it on your thumb drive. Remember, they wipe our computers quite frequently, so then that way it's always on you. Or for this temporary, I'm just going to put it on my desktop, and when I'm done, you know, slide it into the thumb drive or what have you. So it's exactly how I want it set up. Exercise 1, I see my .ai. It's the Illustrator format. I'm going to hit Save. You can pop through this. If you're working in the Creative Cloud, don't change anything. If you're working in an older version, we will discuss that at a later date, because this is where you have some flexibility to step back to older versions. But for now, let's just say everything's normal. We're all on CC, and we're just going to keep it here. Hit OK. It's going to change up here at your sort of right under the menu bar. It's going to say exercise1.ai. Perfect. This is exactly what we want to look for. This is the native file, the original. What I want is the PDF. So go to File, Save As. That's the Shift Apple and S. And instead of having it in Illustrator, you're going to click and hold and select Adobe PDF, and you can see it just changed. Exercise1.pdf. This is what I'm looking for. I'm going to hit Save. Save. We just keep everything default. And then we're going to go into Blackboard, which I already have set up here. Our course materials has all of our projects, so let's click on that tab. Let's say this was our in-class number 1, our word illustration. Click on that. For the actual submission, browse your computer. Exercise 1, make sure you're grabbing the .pdf. Choose. And I'm not going to hit submit, but what you're going to do is go ahead and hit submit. Give it a couple seconds and maybe a minute too if the internet is slow. Sometimes it just takes a little bit longer depending on the file size to actually upload. It is not always instantaneous when it comes to Blackboard, and I think a lot of people get frustrated with that. So that being said, give it a second or two, give it a minute or two. If it still isn't doing, give it like 3 minutes, walk away, get yourself a cup of coffee or something, and come back, and then it should be uploaded by then. And you will be able to, I'll just go ahead and hit submit. I'm not sure if it's going to let me submit to my own. It's not going to, because I actually have different permission sets than you. You'll be able to see your submission in like the title format. Since I don't have upload permissions for this side of things, I'm not able to do it. Once you have that, go ahead, close out, do whatever it is you need to do, and if you're finished with this, close it, quit out of your programs, and you can go forth about your day.